Hey Star Wars fans, how's it going? This is Star Wars Net 77 and I got Star Wars tagged by a really good friend of mine, Ariel, also known as Vidium. He had a great idea doing a Star Wars tag and I think it was great because I was thinking about doing it myself anyway. And so I'm going to respond to him real quick and then pass it forward and hope you guys, and it's open to anyone. If you guys want to do a response to this, you guys are welcome to, but there's 3 people I have in mind that I would like to see responses from if they have the time, of course. And the questions that he asked are, what is your favorite Star Wars game ever? Whether it's arcade, PC, or console, what's your favorite? It's really hard to answer that question. I really sit down and think about this because I really like Knights of the Old Republic, I really like Super Star Wars, and I really like, I mean, there's so many good games. I like X-Wing for the PC and all that good stuff, you know, Rebel Assault. But if I were to choose just one, I'd probably have to honestly pick Atari Star Wars Arcade. It's an awesome game. The controls are awesome with the Yoke controller, and I also like the sound effects. The voicing over it is awesome for the time. It came out in the early 80s. And also the graphics, vector graphics are amazing. It just makes you feel like you're in a game for a very early arcade game. So that would probably have to be my first #1 game if I were just to pick one, okay? Really difficult question. Next question is, which was your first game, Star Wars game? Doesn't matter what handheld or whatnot. That's really tough. I probably have to say it was probably Star Wars for the NES. It was probably my very first one. I picked it up in the late 80s. I had an Atari at the time, of course, but I don't think I had the Star Wars arcade or Star Wars game for any of the Ataris at that point. So it'd probably Star Wars for the NES. It's probably my first one. Third one is which game is the worst Star Wars game you've ever played? I have it right here. This one I actually thought it right away. This is Star Wars Masters of Tarakashi. This is for the PlayStation 1. I think it might have been on the Saturn as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it was. But basically this is kind of like Virtual Fighter meets Star Wars. At least that's what their idea was. And it turned out horrible. The controls are horrible. It doesn't even do Star Wars any credit. So this thing is complete trash in my personal opinion. Okay. And then the last question he wanted to know is, who is my favorite Star Wars character? Oh, I skipped a question. I'm sorry. Which is the cheapest Star Wars game you've ever purchased? Cheapest one is probably, I picked up Star Wars Empire Strikes Back for the Atari for $1. Atari 2600 for $1. So it's probably my cheapest one. Last question, he said, who is my favorite Star Wars character? Again, it's a really hard question, but I really like Yoda. I think he's a badass. He's got the mini lightsaber. I loved it in Attack of the Clones when he whips that thing out and kicks some serious ass, so I think that's cool. Yoda's probably my favorite character. I do want to add another question for you guys, and that is, which is your favorite Star Wars figure or collectible that you have? And it's really hard for me to choose just one, but I do have one I want to point out. And this is a really cool figure. It's called Commander George Sakal, which is, it's actually George with a J, J-O-R-G, and it's Lucas spelled backwards. And this is George Lucas, an X-Wing pilot gear. I have 2 of these. I think this is an awesome figure. There's 2 variations. There's one with a gray beard and one with a white beard. I have both. And this was a collection, Celebration 2 exclusive. So that's probably one of my favorite modern day figures. I think if I were to pick retro figures, vintage figures, I'd probably have to pick Yak Face because he's pretty rare and cool. But this is an awesome figure. So the people I wanted to tag for this video, and again, you guys are always welcome to do a response even if I don't tag you. But my good friend Carl, Nerveherder76, I'd like to hear your response if you have time, man. Sith Lord 229, Steven, it'd be cool if you respond as well. And finally, good friend Mike over in Colorado, Sinistermoon, if you have time, I'd love to hear your response as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and may the Force be with YouTube always. Thanks.